Today's the first phase of a planetary alignment which happens only once every 5,000 years, and will culminate in a solar eclipse when all 8 planets take their places. An ancient timepiece is the key to retrieving 2 halves of a mystic artifact called the Triangle of Light, an object that was created from a fallen meteor during the last eclipse and grants its wielder power over time and space. Initially housed in a city built by those who worshipped the object, misuse of the triangle's power destroyed the city and its people. The doomed device was split into 2 halves, one was hidden in a tomb in Cambodia and the other in the ruined city itself, in what is now modern-day Siberia. A present-day treasure hunter dangles from a rope before dropping into an Egyptian tomb, seeking a diamond at the end of its halls. Lara Croft walks through the tomb before being attacked by a large bipedal robot. So uses Heckler and Koch to fight back until eventually trapping the machine under a sheet and crushing it with a pillar. But it smashes its way free and charges back at her, reaching for and almost shredding Lara with pizza cutters. She disables it with its own arm and completely shuts it down by ripping out its onboard circuits. After passing the level, Lara takes the diamond and tells the robot to stop, revealing the treasure to just be a playlist of Lara's music which she inserts into a laptop inside the robot. It plays techno and she drags its remains back to her assistant Bryce, who programmed the robot Simon, revealing the entire tomb to be a practice arena inside Croft Manor set up to challenge Lara in combat. Lara's long-serving butler Hillary has spent his life trying to make a modest woman of her, despite her many refusals to wear a dress. In Venice at a secret meeting, Manfred Powell and his assistant Mr. Pym meet with a board of directors about finding the 2 halves of the triangle. With the task needing completion by the final phase of the planetary alignment, he makes assurances that they have almost found it, but in reality he's no idea of its location, and must wait another 5,000 years if he should fail. A distinguished gentleman gives him his orders and the camera pans to reveal they are all part of the Illuminati. Back in England, Hillary tries to take Lara's mind off the present day with several places to raid, but she ignores them. 15th of May, as Hillary is well aware, is the anniversary of Lara's father Richard's disappearance, and she spends the day mourning by his memorial out back of the manor, having never recovered from his loss. Later that night the first 3 planets come into alignment, and Lara has a dream of the time her father told her about the event. He told Lara about the Triangle of Light and that one day she would be the one to find it, when she is suddenly woken by the ticking of a clock. She goes searching for it and smashes a part of the house to discover a secret chamber containing an old crate. Inside's an old carriage clock that spontaneously began ticking the first night of the eclipse. She takes it to Bryce to have a look at it and wonders why he still chooses to live outside in his caravan of small robots, despite the manor containing 83 bedrooms, all larger than his trailer. Bryce probes it with his camera and discovers a strange device hidden inside, and after methodically taking it apart piece by piece, Lara smashes the last few screws to reveal the timepiece with an all-seeing eye engraved into it. Since the device resembles a clock, Lara gets on her bike and heads to a clock expert friend of her father's for a consultation. She goes to an auction and waves across the room to him, but accidentally bids $2.4 million on a clock, but is saved by a higher bidder. Before she can speak with her father's friend Mr. Wilson, Lara encounters Alex West, an ex-flame and fellow treasure hunter who once stole off of her. They're still attracted to each other, but West is all about the profits, so she basically tells him to piss off and goes to see Wilson. She believes that the object is a key and is connected to the stories her father told her of the Triangle of Light, but Wilson says he has no clue about the clock or the triangle and offers no help. That night, Lara's called up by Wilson, who tells her he gave her name to Mr. Powell to help in regards to the clock. She thanks him as her dinner explodes, and Wilson looks down at a picture of Lara's father, saying that he is sorry as he is also a member of the Illuminati and Powell isn't looking to play nice. The next day Lara goes to Powell's home to meet him, and sees that he is guarded by mercenaries but claims to be in antiques. She shows him photographs of the clock, having left it at home for protection, but he says he has no knowledge of it. Back at the Croft Manor while discussing it with Bryce, she points out that Powell isn't ignorant, but is lying about what he knows. Later on, while Lara exercises in the foyer with some bungee cords, armed commandos invade the house. Lara fends them off while bouncing around the room, then flees to the garage to retrieve her weapons but has to rely on improvising. Bryce unsuccessfully attempts to get Simon started, so he walks Lara through the location of the soldiers, while Hillary has just woken up and retrieves his shotgun. Lara takes one of the soldiers' guns and uses her motorcycle to ride through the seemingly endless garage until finally escaping back into the house. Despite Hillary's attempt to fend the commandos off alone, Lara returns to find they have taken what they came for. The next morning the trio are cleaning the destroyed manor when a letter shows up for Lara, written by her father before his passing and to be delivered as per his instructions at the beginning of the alignment. It contains a poem by William Blake which leads her to a book in the library. She cuts open an image of the all-seeing eyeball, finding a final letter from Richard addressed to Lara in the case of his death. The letter explains the story of the triangle and its hidden location in both Cambodia and the ruined city in Siberia. Richard urges her to find and destroy both halves before the Illuminati can find them for their own nefarious reasons. Lara gets some of her military buddies to airdrop her into Cambodia, where she sees that Powell is already on the triangle's trail and has employed West to assist in its collection. Powell uses the local people to break into the temple housing the half, finding a giant room with a 6-armed statue and a puzzle to solve. West tells the workers to put the statue's swords in slits around the room and place the clock piece in the center when the next planets align. While Lara is led behind the temple by a young girl before being sucked into the sand which spits her out in the same room as them. She looks around to find the actual keyhole hidden, and gets Powell's attention before convincing him to give her the key just before the planets align, or else they all must wait another 5,000 years. A log releases and Lara jumps on it to break the statue's urn, releasing light rays that reveal the triangle half suspended in a liquid in the center of the room. Lara manages to snatch the piece before anyone else and the liquid awakens smaller guardian statues around the room. They begin to attack and kill the mercs with swords while Lara fights them off with a sword of her own, eventually switching to the cannons along the way. During the battle West retrieves the timepiece, and after the last statue is destroyed he gives it to Powell. Suddenly the huge 6-armed guardian statue comes to life, so Powell leaves with his men. It magnetically picks up its swords and goes for Lara, so she drop-kicks the still swinging log into the guardian's chest, breaking it into pieces as Lara runs out of the temple with a dog statue in pursuit. It catches her but dissolves when it exits the temple entrance, and she flees into the jungle on foot from Powell's men, being caught by West at a waterfall but he lets her escape over the edge. Lara makes it back to town and calls Powell to arrange a meeting in Venice. Since each of them has what the other needs to finish the triangle he agrees to meet her there. Lara informs Bryce to meet her there and then drinks a tea that heals her wounds in seconds. In Venice, Powell greets Lara and proposes a partnership to find the triangle, informing her that her father was once his mentor and that with the power of the triangle they can bring him back. He then sits in Richard's old seat and tells her that her father was a member of the Illuminati, saying that he kept secrets from her, but she still agrees to the partnership as she doesn't believe him. The next day along with Bryce, Lara meets with the Illuminati for their trip to Siberia. They take a helicopter and travel with the distinguished gentleman to a village outside of the ruined city. While Bryce is buying some snow dogs for the journey, a young girl tells Lara that she is risking it all to bring her father back then disappears. They take amphibious vehicles as far as they can, before reaching what they call the dead zone where all electronics go dead. Using the dogs they sled their way into a cave and come upon the entrance to the city, where Lara uses a beckoning bell to smash an ice wall sealing it from the outside world. 24 mercenaries and the raiders flood into a chamber containing a giant model of the solar system, and time storms drifting around the room which the dogs have fun with. The distinguished gentleman sends in men to search the system for the final piece, when the machine activates as the alignment nears completion and begins to crush the soldiers. Croft and West race to the sun in the center of it assuming that's where it is, when Lara notices a location for the key and uses it to enter inside. It spits her back out where she has retrieved the last half of the triangle. The head of the Illuminati takes the pieces and tries to join them as the planets finally align, but Powell betrays him and has his men shoot distinguished gentleman dead. Trying to complete it himself he finds that the halves won't fuse. Testing a theory, Powell throws a knife into West's chest in order to persuade Lara to complete the triangle. He says he knows that Lara would have figured out the solution to the puzzle, and that he can bring back both West and her father if she helps him join them. She reluctantly complies and throws the clock into one of the time storms, revealing a speck missing from the triangle. She combines them and the triangle explodes, sending them to another realm where they then struggle for control of the triangle, with Croft prevailing and Powell falling into an abyss. Lara then finds herself in a strange alternate reality facing her father. He explains that they are in a crossing of time and space and that he never told her about the Illuminati to keep her safe and only told her enough to inspire her. Richard urges his daughter to destroy the triangle instead of using it to save his life, then disappears. Lara returns to the chamber, where time is slowly running backwards from the moment Powell threw the knife at West. She takes the knife he threw and turns it around, then shoots the triangle, returning time to its normal flow and sending the knife backwards into Powell's shoulder. The chamber begins to self-destruct and everyone including Powell's own men turn to leave, but the injured man taunts Lara, telling her that he killed Richard himself when they found out he was betraying them, then pulls out a pocket watch containing a picture of her mother. Croft returns to retrieve it and the two decide to put their guns down and fight with their fists. After a few strikes thrown back and forth, Powell picks up the knife, but Lara disarms him and gives him a flurry of strikes, finishing him off with a karate chop to the throat sending his legs limp. She takes her father's watch back, and escapes as the chamber comes down around her. At the entrance she uses some abandoned dogs and pieces of a broken sled to ski out of the cave, Sometime later at the Croft Manor, Hilary is shocked to see Lara finally wearing a dress, as she goes into the garden to her father's memorial to pay her respects. When she returns, Bryce takes one for the photo album, before revealing a reprogrammed Simon ready to challenge her once again. Hilary produces Lara's pistols on a silver tray, so she snatches them. And the movie ends. So you made it. I appreciate your time. I couldn't have done it without you. Tell your mother I said thanks.